Wives in the back, clearly not a fan of Charizard, so we're going to farm up, sacrifice Talonflame to the Pokegod's Hydro Cannon from the non-shadow, doesn't get the knockout, the opponent farms up a boatload of energy, make a very nice catch on that second thing that is petrified of Zard. Corviknight is going to get a massive sand attack farm down, it's all down to one shield Zard to clean up, the opponent farms to the payback. Payback is going to hurt, but of course the objective less than a Hydro Cannon Zard, undeterred, going to farm up to the double blast burn. And we all know how this one's going to end. The first one removes Corviknight from the field of play. Back out comes the Steel Penguin. And is very quickly about to meet the same fate. GG's and thanks for playing. Welcome back to the channel. As you can hear, much like the previous video, I've still got a stinking cold. So excuse my horrible sounding voice. Today, I'm going to be showcasing the team that just so happens to have been the favourite team I've ran all season. I'm running a very cool ABB team. Yes, I'm basic. I'm a sucker for an ABB team with a double shadow, fire and flying strategy. Last month, I cracked open the game, did my morning balloon with a coffee, and I almost choked on the bloody thing. When I saw the IVs and the fletching I caught, I thought, what the heck is going on? A perfect rank 1. It took me about a month to grind this thing to best buddy status, and I had to put it to work. Talonflame is going to be the team safe switch, and I'm actually opted for Peck, that of course has become a Shadow Claw clone this season. Whilst I've got numerous elite charge TMs, I could have given it Incinerate. I think on the safe switch, Peck makes the most sense. You're likely going to bait out something like a water type, even a dragon, and Peck is going to be objectively better into both of them things. Zard on Ember is going to be the closer, with his lightning fast pacing. I've actually opted for Dragon Claw, not particularly through choice, just so I don't want to waste any charge TMs. However, running Dragon Claw over Air Cutter, I think, gives you a very clear advantage. It removes the temptation to bait. Both Dragon Claw and Blast Burn cost 50 energy, so you better believe we're going to be YOLOing fucking Blast Burns at everything, and everything's getting cooked to a crisp. With all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we see a battle of dragon types. My thought process on leading Kommo-o is going to beat the electrics, it's going to beat them waters and the rock types the backline doesn't want to see. It also hits like a truck and should do a pretty good job of forcing protect shields. The opponent fires off the Glaciate, pivot into Gliscopod. We are at -1, but Clanging Scale still leaves a very solid dent. I then pivot into Talonflame, unfortunately unable to Peck farm down before the Aqua Jet's reached. I rarely go down both protect shields, but I can shield this up, leave it almost full health and completely load on energy. Out comes Jellicent. We fire a 4 Pecks and the first fly. Shadow Fly gonna land for heavy neutral damage, forcing the first protect shield back. One further Peck and the next fly. The opponent now receiving the energy for the surf, so we're going to pivot back out into Kommo-o. I waste no time, go straight for that Clanging Scales, recognising the opponent cannot catch back onto Kyurem, and Clanging Scales instantly puts this jellyfish into the red health range. Shadow Ball will be moving Kommo-o from the field of play. This is still kind of a tough position. I'm just going to send out Talonflame, look to force the energy, and allow Charizard to close the show. Surf will be moving Talonflame from the field of play. We send out Zard, the opponent not wish to concede a farm down, send out Kyurem, and Kyurem is going to be able to outpace the Glaciate, forcing a debuff on Charizard's attack. Charizard going to farm up as much energy I physically can. I tried to reach the double, recognise I'm going to get Dragon Breath farm down and throw the Dragon Claw. Have I put myself in the range with 1 Hex? Knocks us out. No, I have not. Charizard reaches the next charge move, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see the Kommo-o Mirror. So how I like to play this matchup out is you better believe I'm YOLOing the Clanging Scales and no shield whatever the opponent throws. What mad lad YOLOs the Scales right off the bat? Me, I do. Hopefully the opponent doesn't, because if they do, as I'm debuffed, I'm definitely getting one shot. Thankfully, the opponent go for the upper hand. We then pivot into Talonflame. The opponent answers my Talonflame save switch with Feraligatr. This is definitely a matchup where opting for Peck over Incinerate is advantageous. You can see these neutral Pecks are starting to tear through Feraligatr's HP. I invest a Protect Shield, block up the Hydro Cannon. We're going to throw 4 and the next fly just before the opponent receives the energy for the next Hydro Cannon. The opponent chooses to invest their final Protect Shield, and that more than works for me. I'm looking at the health thinking, can I Ember farm down before the next Hydro Cannon's reach? It's going to be close, but I'm going to attempt it anyway. If 5 Embers don't knock out, Kommo-o's looking like a pretty good third shield. We farm up, make the catch, back onto Kommo-o. Kommo-o will be getting removed from the field of play. Charizard re-enters the arena, out comes Corviknight. The opponent recognises that's going to be game over, and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Nidoqueen in the lead position. We've got two things that single resist ground, so we pivot into Talonflame. The opponent here only farms up to 5. It's 6 to the first Stone Edge. This should only be the Poison Fang. Poison Fang does decent damage, and out comes Guzzlord. Once again, this is definitely a matchup where Peck is advantageous. We throw the first fly, attempt to throw the next one on the charge attack priority. Unfortunately, the opponent doesn't play to CMP, but they do tank the damage on the left on fractional HP. Very nice recognition from my opponent that they would survive that move. To be honest, I wish I forced a shield, but it wasn't meant to be. I'm going to send out Zard. Zard now gets a 1 Ember running start. Nidoqueen unlikely to return. The opponent's going to be forced to reveal their third. Out comes the ever annoying Steel Snake. We farm up, throw the Blast Burn on the charge attack priority to the annoying debuff move, aka Psychic Fangs, but one Psychic Fangs is survivable. We're going to tank the damage and then pivot back out into Kommo-o. The opponent saves Steelix, make the pivot back into Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen again goes for the annoying debuff, this time the Poison Fang. Debuff here, debuff there, but Kommo-o undeterred, gonna farm up, full send that Clanging Scales. Clanging Scales gets no respect, and down goes the Queen. Back out comes Steelix, one Dragon Tail, and the upper hand. Upper hand hits for super effective, and looks like it 2 shots. Kommo-o still with 2 shields high beyond, gonna be invested in a Protect Shield, blocking up the Psychic Fangs. We're going to fire off the next upper hand. Upper hand should be forced in the opponent's final Protect Shield. Kommo-o could close the show, but you know what's going to be more satisfying? Blast Burn and this Steel Snake to the face. They're on fractional HP, but why not land that 1 HP in a dream? Boom. Blast Burn, of course, easily going to knock out Steelix, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see another Kommo-o in the lead. It's kind of mad. I've played quite a lot of Ultra League this week. I've not seen any Kommo-o until I decided to lead it. This time we lose CMP, which is probably better as long as I don't get Clanging Scale to the face. The opponent again, throw the upper hand. My huge balls call the bait, because who's going to Clanging Scales right off the bat? I do, but unfortunately it bounces off the Protect Shield. I'm guessing the reason I'm seeing a lot of Kommo-o is some content creator has put out this team with Kommo-o and Feraligatr, as we've seen it twice in the first set I played with this team. We've already established from the first time we saw this matchup, you can't give Talonflame on Peck a huge energy lead and then send out your Gator, as you're going to lose the 1 shield scenario. It looks like this Gator has worse IVs than the last, as I'm definitely Ember farming that down before the next Hydro Cannon's reached. Charizard now gets hit the field of play. In that scenario it loves best, a 1-0 shield advantage. Charizard Ember farms down before the Hydro Cannon's reached. The opponent sends out the Steel Penguin, then go for the wham, bam, combo play. Tried to serve up the Big Mac and the fries. They bait me very, very rudely with the upper hand, but no upper hand bait is going to save Kommo-o's fate. Dragon Claw removes Kommo-o from the field of play. Back out comes the Steel Penguin. The Blast Burn's locked. It's loaded. Almost a 1-hit KO. We pivot into Kommo-o, and the opponent's going to need a near perfect undercharge to win this game. Hydro Cannon does enable a farm down, but they're still getting Ember farm down, and I will be emerging victorious. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see Shadow Swampert in the lead position. Very, very nice to catch it in the lead, as both my Shadow, Fire and Flying types get one shot by a Hydro Cannon. The opponent likely throw the Sludge, or at least so I thought. They must have Earthquake, as they actually opted for the Hydro Cannon. I wasn't entirely sure that an upper hand would be lethal, so we YOLO the Clanging Scales, and down goes Swampert. We pivot into Talonflame. Virizion temporarily made an appearance before Talonflame enters the mirror. We're on Peck, they're on Incinerate. We land the Fly. Fly does crazy damage. I literally don't need Talonflame. We've got Zard, so train a Brave Bird me, I dare you. They go for the Flame Charge bait, and that bait is going to seal this opponent's fate as we 2-shield flex. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Licky, far too thicky in the lead position. A fantastic lead for us. The opponent safe switches into Togekiss, and here comes Talonflame. In Ultra League, most people opt for Aura Spear and Dazzling Gleam, so I should fully wall the energy, but of course this opponent's on Side Shot, because why bloody not? Talonflame's always getting outpaced, so I'm going to fire off the Flame Charge and look to vamp up my Peck damage. The opponent's already the next Side Shock, and we're just going to let Talonflame go down. Side Shock removes me from the field of play, and it's time to send out Zard and look to start loading up on energy. I need to be mindful, the opponent can say Togekiss. I'm not going to throw 5 and on CMP. I'm going to throw 1 before and look to remove Togekiss from the field of play. I tried to prevent the catch and the opponent catches anyway, which is brutal for me. I don't want to take the rollout damage, so I'm forced to send back out Kommo-o. This kind of deletes my dragon, while Kommo-o will move in Licky far too thicky from the field of play. It's going to get sacrificed to that return in Togekiss. I farm up as much energy I physically can, Upper hand removes them from the field of play. Back out comes Togekiss. We're completely walled here, but I'm going to fire off the upper hand and fish for the debuff. We actually do get the debuff, and the opponent does look to dump energy. The opponent's already caught me once, so I need to be mindful. The opponent's going to try to make a catch. There is said catch attempt. Out comes a Bomber Snow Trainer. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We farm up to the double blast burn. The Snowman got absolutely cooked to a crisp. Togekiss also going to get cooked to a crisp, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Feraligatr, the Angry Alligator, in the lead position. This is somewhat of a dicey matchup. If the opponent full send an Ice Beam, I'm going to be very, very sad. We've got 2 shield, and we love to call baits on this channel. Thankfully, the opponent does throw the bait. I'm also going for the upper hand here. I think I should clang in scales. The upper hand doesn't quite get the job done. However, as I haven't debuffed myself, this Hydro Cannon should be survivable. I can bank an upper hand and aggressively send out one of my fire types. I send out Zard, look for the Ember farm down. The opponent not wishing to see the farm down, send out Florges. Right off the bat, we full send the Blast Burn. Blast Burn, massive damage, and 1 Chilling Water is going to be survivable. Here, I'm intentionally not going to throw. The thought process is that I'd rather not concede a farm down to whatever their third is. Instead, I'd rather get an energy lead on my own third, in this case, Talonflame. The Firebird of Death enters the arena, able to get the Peck farm down before the Chilling Waters reach, and out comes Giratina. Definitely a matchup where Peck is advantageous. Feraligatr is still alive, and I'm just going to continue to farm up and wait for the opponent to make a catch. Trainer, go for a catch. They don't go for a catch. I go for a catch, and I get farmed down. I'm now kind of forced to dump energy. I'm at 100. Now I need the opponent's catch to feed me free energy to have any chance of winning this game. Come on, Trainer. Send out that Gator. I'm waiting. No catch attempts made, and we're going to get outpaced. Oof. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see the Steel Penguin in the lead position. Not the best matchup, but not the worst. The opponent doesn't throw at the best time in either, giving me 2 free turns. Drill Peck leaves a solid dent, but the upper hand also going to land for heavy super effective damage. We throw 1 Dragon Tail and the upper hand for optimal fast move timing. I'm going to spam this next upper hand as soon as I get it and look to remove this Steel Penguin from the field of play. Down goes Empoleon, and we are spamming the switch. As I'm on an ABB team, if I'm able to beat the lead, a matchup my backline doesn't want to see, I'm always looking to pivot out into one of my B types and look to see what the opponent's best counter is for a firing flying type. Wheezing remains on my screen. Again, we're getting outpaced. I'm going to fire off the Flame Charge and look to ramp up my Peck damage. Despite being boosted, Talonflame has done its job. Sludge removes me from the field of play, and Zard now has a 2-to-1 shield advantage. Charizard hits the field of play. Out comes Torterra. Oh, Trainer, you thought with the fire and flying type out of the way, Torterra was going to be good to sweep. Unfortunately, it's not. We correctly shielded the Stone Edge, throw 1 Ember and the Blast Burn. I'm going to look to undercharge here and get yet more farm together. Blast Burn isn't lethal. We're able to Ember farm down, and this game is over. Back out comes Wheezing. We farm up to the double Blast Burn. We all know this one's going to end. The opponent correctly shielded the first, but Charizard says there's plenty more of where that came from. I'm going to invest to protect shield, blocking up the Sludge, tap that Blast Burn, and Blast Burn is going to be all she wrote. GG's that opponent. Heading into the next battle. Oof, awful lead. We're going to say switch into Talonflame and see what the opponent wants to do. Out comes Cradilly, so this isn't looking particularly great for me. Somewhat of RPS and very much not in my favour. We actually forced a Protect Shield here in the mid-game matchup, which is kind of best case scenario. There's no point in shielding this up, as we'd get our attack debuffed, and the next move wouldn't be lethal, so instead we're just going to send out Kommo-o, the opponent farming up a boatload of energy, so I'm going to take the initiative and fire off upper hand. Unfortunately for me, upper hand isn't quite lethal, but it is a CMP tie. Kommo-o going to be more than content to tank a Rock Tomb that does absolutely nothing. The opponent then send out Primate. I'm not going for the U-switch, I-switch. Kommo-o awful into Wheezing, so I'm more than content to stay in. Rage Fist should be survivable, not well, but well enough for me to undertap this next upper hand and look to remove Primate from the field of play. The opponent invests their Protect Shield. We save Kommo-o as a potential sack swap and send out Zard. Zard going to tank the first Rage Fist, shield the next one, and look for the full Ember farm down afterwards. We need to be mindful. The opponent can look to pivot back out again. Cradilly not quite at a move yet, but fairly close. Back out comes Cradilly, and I'm not taking any chances. We're just going to fire off a charge move, removing Cradilly from the field of play. And again, this game's over. If Primate re-enters the arena, I Ember farm down. If Wheezing enters the arena, the opponent isn't going to be able to stall out the timer before that Blast Burn's reach. Blast Burn cooks Wheezing to an absolute crisp. We Ember farm down Primeape and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Runerigus in the lead position. Kind of where the team wants to see it, to be honest, as this thing does have access to Rock Tomb. The opponent farm up to what could be a Shadow Ball, but I've got no intention of shielding. The opponent fire off the Rock Tomb. That doesn't do much of anything. Kommo-o going to force in that Clanging Scales, and even at -1, Clanging Scales going to absolutely clap. The first one easily puts them in a range where the next one will be lethal. The opponent chooses to invest a Protect Shield, gets super greedy, allow me to reach the upper hand. This is double resisted, but the opponent might think it's another Clanging Scales and invest their final Protect Shield and its CMP. Our double fire types have now got a 2-0 shield advantage. What could go wrong? Well, of course we're going to get debuffed here, and I'm definitely shielding up a Rock Tomb. I don't fancy getting one shot. I think in hindsight, I wish I sent out Talonflame and just sacrificed it, but it is what it is. I reset that debuff, send out Talonflame, and I'm certainly not in the best spot, despite the opponent making somewhat of a bodge of the opening matchup. These Embers are not doing much of anything. We're going to full send the Blast Burn. Blast Burn rocks Gator very deep into the red, putting them in a range where we should be able to Ember farm down afterwards. The opponent stays in. Trainer, you aren't getting there. The opponent recognises they're going to get farmed down. Send out Wheezing. We're at the double Blast Burn. The first one, massive damage. The second one thrown on CMP. Winning CMP is going to move in Wheezing from the field of play. Gator not going to reach the Hydro Cannon. We Ember farm down and take that game. In the next battle, we see another Glaring Wheezing in the lead position. Awful for me. We save switch into Talonflame, baiting out Shadow Gator. As is Shadow and Shadow Crime, we're hoping to force a Protect Shield here, and we do exactly that. Despite things looking somewhat dire, team is working as intended. We're save switching into one of our B types, baiting out something Zard doesn't want to see, hopefully clearing the path for it to sweep the back line. This is enough for an Ice Beam. There's no reason to bait. We just about hang on, under tap that upper hand. If this goes unshielded, it will be moving them from the field of play, and it's Zard versus the world. The opponent goes to the classic U-switch, I-switch, and send out Virizion. They throw on Force. This cannot be a Stone Edge. I think it's 5-5-5 and 4 for the fourth one, not that you ever reach in 4. Here I get myself in somewhat of a shambles spot. I'm over 100 energy. I really need to throw something. Finally, I do throw energy. Again, we're going to undercharge. We need to farm down before the next Leaf Blades reach because we're starting to run out of HP. We are able to Ember farm down. Back out comes Wheezing. The issue I've got is it's not Shadow and Shadow Crime, so one Blast Burn is going to be survivable. We get off as much Ember damage as we physically can. Make the catch back onto Kommo-o. Blast Burn does about 75%, so we should be able to Ember him into a range where a Blast Burn will be lethal. Again, we're capped on energy, so we're going to unleash the first Blast Burn, which bounces off the Protect Shield. We're going to farm up, throw yet another Blast Burn, and we're finally embered into a range where Blast Burn is going to be all she wrote. GG's that opponent. In the next battle, we see Gastrodon in the lead position. Kind of where the team wants to see it. It's kind of 50-50 in the Great League. Almost everyone runs Water Balls. In the Ultra League, it's kind of 50-50. Right off the bat, we YOLO the Clanging Scales. Clanging Scales able to land, and the opponent even let me reach an upper hand too. An upper hand that should be forcing the first Protect Shield of the game. I don't like how I played this matchup. Even debuff, we are going to survive a Body Slam, and here I think I should pivot into Talonflame, go for the one shield and farm down. I attempt to Dragon Tail farm down, and in turn get Mudslap farm down instead. We're going to respect a blind Water Pulse. Even an Earth Power single resisted would do a lot, but I put myself in a tricky spot. Out comes the Steel Penguin. We're going to YOLO that Blast Burn, force the protection. The opponent farm up a boatload of energy. They're logically going to farm up to the double. One to force the shield and one to knock out. With that in mind, we catch onto Talonflame and save our Zard. The opponent is not going to be able to Metal Sound farm me down. We're going to reach the Flame Charge. The opponent bank all their energy and send out Corviknight. Flame Charge, super effective. And certainly puts them in a range where Blast Burn is going to be lethal. The opponent gets a massive Sand Attack farm down. They farm to what could be a payback. Payback is going to hurt, but do objective less than a Hydro Cannon. Zard, undeterred, tanks the payback, farms up to the double Blast Burn. And once again, Zard is going to clean up. The first Blast Burn removes Corviknight from the field of play. Back out comes a Steel Penguin, but it's going to be straight in and straight out. And I will be emerging victorious. GG's that opponent. In the next battle, we see another Kyurem in the lead position. I think I should be pivoting into Talonflame. Eventually, I do make the pivot after I kind of recognise I'm not playing this matchup particularly optimally. While I am going to be able to force a Protect Shield, hopefully I pivot out this time and not be a complete potato. We fire off the upper hand. Jamie, why aren't we pivoting? Ugh, horrible gameplay. Potentially if they've got a water type in the back, we've just sacrificed Kommo-o really cheaply. Speaking of which, there is said water type. We managed to force the opponent all shields down, but I still don't really like the position I'm in. Is there even blast burn range? I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to have to hope it is. Zard does have a 1 to no shield advantage, but of course I'm definitely going to have to invest a protect shield blocking up this incoming hydro cannon. The opponent then farm up, tried to catch back onto Kyurem. I farm up to 100 energy, unleash the blast burn will move in Kyurem from the field of play. Gator re-enters the arena, and that looks like blast burn range to me. Blast burn will move in Gator from the field of play. It's Jellicent in the back, double water beats double fire, and I am going to concede the match. As you can tell in my commentary in the last battle, I didn't enjoy how I played that matchup. The game's like, have a chance to redeem yourself as we get back-to-back Kyurem leads, and this time I make the adjustment, this time going straight into Talonflame. The opponent fire off the Dragon Claw that lands for heavy neutral damage and then send out Jellicent. Potentially, if this is the same team as the last one, we've got a chance here. We've played this somewhat better than last time. Talonflame has not only near neutralised this Jellicent, running Peck, it's also put Jellicent in a perfect range for Kommo-o to no-shield the Shadow Ball and get a very nice Dragon Tail farm down afterwards. Now if Kyurem re-enters the arena, we don't really like that matchup in even energy. They do outpace, but with an energy lead, I'm definitely sitting in an advantageous spot. Back out comes Kyurem, we fire off the upper hand. I'm going to stay in, look to force the energy. Trainer, you need to throw. The opponent looking for the Dragon Breath farm down. They don't get it. We reach yet another upper hand. I'm going to instantly pivot here. Yes, we're going to get debuffed, but I can eventually reset that as Kommo-o is still alive and well. We shield the Glaciate. The opponent now going to double debuff me. I've got two choices really. If I don't shield this move, we're in danger of getting fast move beat down. If I do shield, we've got no shields to hide behind. Out comes Nidoqueen, 4 Embers and the Blast Burn. Blast Burn, even at -2, leaves a solid dent. 4 further Embers and the next Blast Burn. As I mentioned earlier in the video, it's 6 to the Stone Edge. The opponent now receiving the energy for the Stone Edge. We catch back onto Kommo-o, and that is going to be a game-winning catch. Stone Edge removes me from the field of play. Zard re-enters the arena, gets the Ember farm down, able to outpace to the Dragon Claw, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's that opponent. We finally get some redemption after playing the previous battle horribly. That one was played kind of nice. In the next battle, yikes, what an atrocious lead. We're going to pivot into Talonflame and see what the opponent wants to do. It looks like I found yet another Psyshock variant of Togekiss, or at least so I thought, but they actually fire off the Aura Spear, force him chip and dip, and then send out Gastrodon. Talonflame gonna unleash the Fly. Fly gonna land for heavy neutral damage. It's 5 to the Water Pulse, so I'm gonna try and throw this Fly on CMP. The opponent not falling for any of my shenanigans, but they're still gonna be forced to invest in Protect Shield, and they do exactly that. I'm more than happy with Talonflame's contribution, once again able to force their shield advantage in the mid-game matchup. They fire off the Body Slam, so I've still got no idea what the second move is. Is it Earth Power? Is it Water Pulse? Whatever it is, Kommo-o is going to be operating as a damage sponge. They throw the Water Pulse at me. That does not much of anything. I think you should just go straight Body Slam. Here, the opponent does throw the Body Slam, and you will see it actually does more. We then pivot into Zard. Zard gets a very nice Ember farm down and a nice running start. And what the hell is that? These poison jabs are doing crazy damage. Where the hell is my HP? We fire off the Blast Burn. I know this is a Sand Tomb, but I'm forced to shield as I'm rapidly running out of HP. Am I going to lose to this absolute crazy Spice? You can see I'm now deep in the red health range. I'm forced to pivot out, or I'm going to get Peck farm down. So we send back out Kommo-o just to reset that debuff. We may as well throw energy as we've got some. We fire off the upper hand. I look to fire off the Clanging Scales. That's neither here nor there. The real thing that it comes down to is, can we survive the Pecks? And Charizard does not let me down. Survives the Pecks, reach the Blast Burn, and we just about escape for a dub. Oof, that was dicey. Who the heck won Shadow Nidoking, man? Shout out that opponent. That was some mad spice. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's showcase. As I said, excuse my voice. I am very much struggling with a cold. But I hope you enjoyed the video regardless. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to our battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks for watching. And I'll see you all in the next one.